Hi everybody, Anna Sabramowitz here. Hope you're having a fabulous, yes, it's Thursday. Oh my goodness. All right, so today, as I promised, what we're going to do is we're going to look through some case studies, look through some examples of how you can use interactive storytelling and how you can leverage this strategy to actually improve the outcomes of your learners, all right? So today we're going to talk about how do you get people who are seasoned professionals, who are coming in as seasoned professionals, so they're new to your organization, how do you get them engaged in all those learning resources, okay? So I'm gonna talk through this, basically the next 2 weeks is really gonna be about case studies that I've done for my clients and that my students have also done for their clients. And one of the things that I'm trying to answer here for you is the common question that comes up when I talk about interactive storytelling, which is, will it work for my audience? So I hope these examples will help you answer that question, and also maybe give you some ideas about how you can use it for, how you can leverage this strategy for your audiences, and maybe think about this a little bit differently. So I know I'm coming on a little bit earlier than usual, but I have a meeting, and it's actually packed full today, so I wanted to get this out to you because I think you'll find it very valuable. All right, so first off, I'll just jump on, make sure I can see your comments, and thanks so much for saying hi when you do. I really appreciate it. Now, okay, so let's get started. So this particular type of audience, let's just go through some of the beliefs that we uncovered. And these beliefs are not something that I came up with myself. These are not beliefs that even the subject matter expert told me, or the person who decided that, the sponsor who decided that this was a good idea with me. What happened is I discovered these beliefs after I talked to the practitioners, right? So these are the things that you need to discover talking to people in the front, talking to people who recently became this person in the organization, all right? Hello, Dr. Eric. Thanks so much for being here. All right, so this was a humanitarian organization, and what they were doing is they were recruiting people for really top positions, right? And if you know, I think this happens in many industries, if you have people who are managers, they'll look for other managers' jobs. If you have, and especially in the same sector, right? If you have people who are VPs, it'll be kind of like they'll rotate. Now, there's a challenge with an organization taking on somebody seasoned like that, right? One of the challenges is there's a benefit, of course, a huge one, because you're trying to attract people with experience who know what they're doing. They've got a different level of confidence and experience that they can fall back on, right? But there's also drawbacks, definite drawbacks when people begin a new position and they're already seasoned. They're like, oh yeah, I've been here before. This is business as usual, right? So they're coming into your organization and you really don't know the values that they are coming in with as far as, how they're going to work, because every organization has its own set of, values, principles, ethics. And so just because everybody works in the humanitarian sector doesn't mean the priorities are the same, right? Every organization has its own different values. And this organization had a very strong emphasis on advocacy and also working within the community, being in the front lines. And so this is different than other places. Some places like to come in, it's just different. And so what happened is we'd have people who coming in who really weren't going through the training, the onboarding training seriously, because they thought, hey, this is just business as usual. I've been here before. And that's one of the things is they assume, they're like, I've been doing this for a decade. I know this. Yeah, humanitarian missions, I got it, right? So there's this little bit of this kind of resistance almost, or this unawareness that there's a different way to do this because they've done it before, right? Which can be detrimental to a mission if you are bringing in people who are not executing things in the way that your ethos of your company is working, right? One of the things is they believed that nothing had changed. So as far as leveraging certain technologies, leveraging certain tools to make the projects more effective and smooth, leveraging with other vendors, those things, they probably came in thinking, it's the same as this other place. I understand this world, so I know how it works, right? Have you heard of anybody saying stuff like that? Sometimes it's a curse, right? And it's not like they didn't want to do a good job, but after being in the field for such a long time, they thought, hey, I got it figured out. And to me, this is a basically an unconscious competence almost, right? They're like unconsciously competent. They're doing things without really thinking about them. And that's fine if things don't change. There's no such thing in the world. Things will always change. And so how do you rock these people out of their apathy in some ways and say, hey, I know you're an experienced professional, but we got some new rules, we got some new approaches, we got some new strategies, and this is different, okay? So it's cool, we love you for that experience because a lot of benefits come with it, but we're gonna have to revisit this, right? And then also, one of the things that they believed is that getting a project done on time was a result of tireless work. It was just, if they put in 18-hour days, this would be, and this is kind of like the ethos of humanitarian work in some places. And so it's like the harder you work, the more, you basically, and they're like, we don't want you to burn out. And there's actually ways of getting a project done on time by leveraging other things other than just, nose to the grindstone. So here's all these beliefs that these people had, right? And you're like, okay, if somebody believes all these things, their propensity for going into this organization's awesome learning management system and figuring, going through those modules, they're like, why would they, right? They believe all these things. So it has nothing to do with their capability, with their knowledge, with their skills even. It has a lot to do with the beliefs and the beliefs that they tell themselves that prevent them from going into and checking out the resources, looking at the guides, looking at the tutorials, and even using the performance support in some ways that was provided to them that would answer almost every single question that they had when they came up with a difficult situation and decision. So how do we solve this, right? How do we solve this? Because I don't know about you, but I don't think this is a humanitarian issue at all. I don't think this is just exclusive to them. I think it happens all over the place, right? So, but here, I didn't come up with this. This is what they believed. So how do you fix that, right? And here's the things that the interactive story needed to accomplish for this organization, right? And let me just give you a quick recap of what an interactive story is. I'm gonna move this over here. There we go. I'm organized today, guys. I got stickies. Woo! Not flipping through 50 pages today for you. By the way, if you're here, I just wanted to say thanks so much for joining me and investing this time in you. You could be doing a million other things, and I see people doing a million other things, like, posting polls on which word is the most appropriate word to use in e-learning. I mean, just stuff that's procrastination as far as I'm concerned, because that stuff doesn't move the needle forward. So you're here learning this and implementing this, of course, is going to move the needle forward for you. All right. So super cool to have you here. And if you get a chance, say hi. All right. So what's an interactive story, right? An interactive story is not there to teach you anything. It's there to give you aha moments, help you recognize you have some gaps, help you become uncomfortable. Because one of the things we're trying to, as you saw with these professionals, we're trying to break them out of this it's business as usual apathy, because we got a whole lot of awesome procedures and ways of doing stuff that's different, right? And especially if you're deploying people really quickly and you're expecting them to ramp up super fast, a lot of that drive to complete things, especially with higher level professionals, is going to have to come from them. But if they don't believe that it's needed, they're gonna find a ton of other things to go through, right? And so what you need to realize is that the interactive story is just there as a catalyst. It is there to, what is a catalyst, right? A catalyst is, there's things that are already, like there's a reaction already happening, right? Let's say the reaction is your learner's going to the LMS to learn something, right? And it's not happening very fast. Now, all a catalyst does is it doesn't change the process in any way or make it any, weird. What it does is you sprinkle it on, right? And what it does is it makes the propensity for that, let's say, that reaction to happen more often. So more people get the ahas that they need to check out their resources because they're going to be helpful. More people get the ahas that there's all this performance support that is there baked in and I just need to access it. So that's what you're doing. You're creating a catalyst, right? So now let's go back to what this organization felt the catalyst needed to do for them, okay? And it will be different for different organizations, right? But some of these things will overlap. So here's what they wanted their interactive story to achieve. Reinforce values and how decisions are made. So these people would get the same kind of decision, right, that they would probably have gotten in any other job that they did for the past decade. But the feedback, the reflection of that character, the consequence that they got as a result, all those things, if done strategically, would actually be like, whoa, that's not what I expected. Is that how we do things here? Really? I thought, so it's meant to the language that we're using, the reflection that we're using, the thinking that the character's doing and thinking about the situations, all of that is reinforcing the values that this organization believes and wants to reinforce in its staff and leadership, right? The other thing they wanted is to create curiosity by presenting challenging dilemmas. Now, in some context, right, some people, let's say, would come from different areas, and they might not be aware of things like death threats or running out of supplies. Maybe that's never happened to them. So one of the things we did is we created these situations that were very challenging and common for this place, but also to reinforce the fact that regardless of the situation, they've actually thought of it, they've experienced it, and they've created a protocol to help you manage that situation. So we created that curiosity to like, whoa, I didn't solve that the right way, or does this actually happen on the job? Oh my God, is there a tool that will help me when I'm in that situation? So reinforcing going to that tool, going to that learning resource center, going to SharePoint to find out those pages that are dedicated to providing those resources. Huge, right? And then the other thing is challenge their beliefs about best practices. So lots of resources around that in the LMS, but how do you create situations that are like basically rock you to the core and say, oh, wait a minute, I thought working 18-hour days was the best thing to do, but no, we reinforce that, hey, you know what, actually you will get a lot more done if you have the buy-in from the local community, and you'll actually get a lot more accomplished because there'll be less resistance to implementation if you actually get the people to collaborate with you and maybe go and make some really cool connections at the next community meeting, right? So it's challenging some of those strategies, challenging some of those dilemmas. And you can do that in an interactive story, because all you're doing is you're not only crafting a compelling character that these people can relate to, right, in some ways, but also you are in charge of the situations that they are a part of. And you can make those situations as punchy, as compelling, and as packed into that 15-minute experience as possible, so that they have as many aha moments and belief-crushing kind of things to, basically you're trying to shake them up, stir it up, get them out of their comfort zone and start asking questions. That's the first thing. Awareness is huge, right? It's the first step. And if you're not aware that something is existing there to help you, you become frustrated or you justify, poor performance. So that's what we were trying to do, is get these really seasoned professionals coming in with tons of experience to also then consider, hey, this is a new organization. I wonder if they do things differently, and not become apathetic, but actually look into these resources and start asking questions about how that happens. All right. So that's one way we used an interactive story. And basically what happened is now every single person who comes on who's super seasoned, they don't actually, get fed a bunch of resources, because it's overwhelming. It's tons of it. What we're trying to reinforce with this interactive story is that they go through the interactive story and they're like, oh, whoa, okay, this is a little different. Where do I go for help? And all we're trying to do is not teach them how to make decisions, not teach them how to how to be a great manager in a humanitarian organization. It doesn't work like that. You can't teach people anything in 15 minutes, except fold a t-shirt maybe. And even then that's questionable. So one of the things you realize is all you're trying to do with that thing is to push them to something else. And while you're pushing them to that other thing, they're actually excited about it and they want to ask questions, reach out and do something. Like, that's to me is behavior change. Did your interactive story get people to actually go to the next thing and do that thing? And there you can do more reinforcement, right? But that's really what you're thinking about when you're doing this. And it was a success, so which is awesome. So I gotta go, but you guys, thank you so much for being here. I'll be here again tomorrow around the same time. Thanks so much for being here. Like I said, it's awesome. If you like this video, you want more of it, make sure you like it, you share it. That lets me know you like this content, and I'll be doing more case studies throughout the next couple of weeks. All right, take care, friends. Bye.